Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be making some delicious pork Chile Verde. So stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and start with some pork blade. I have two big thick pieces here. I have about 2 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and trim a little bit of the excess fat just around the outside, and then I'm going to go ahead and leave everything else. So let's go ahead and get to dicing this meat so we can get to cooking it. Here I've gone ahead and diced it all up in about bite-sized pieces, and just keep in mind I did remove some of the outside fat. Everything else is exactly what you saw in the package. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it to my saucepan here. There is absolutely nothing in the pan. This meat is very fatty, so you don't need to add any other type of grease to cook it. So just keep that in mind. I don't know why I'm putting it in here one piece at a time, but hey, sometimes you don't realize what you're doing until you watch it again. Okay, so here I've gone ahead and added an even layer over the entire meat of some freshly ground pepper. And then I'm going to do the same with some sea salt, just an even layer. Don't be afraid to season this meat. It really takes on to some delicious salt and pepper. So I'm also going to add some garlic powder. This has a little bit of parsley in it. If you have regular garlic powder, it's going to do the same thing. And then I'm also going to add some onion powder, and I'm doing, like I said, an even layer over all of the meat. If I had to give you a measurement, I would say start off with about a teaspoon and then adjust it to your liking. So I've gone ahead and mixed everything in so that all the seasonings aren't just sitting on the top. So now this just needs to sit there and cook. It is going to take a while for it to be nice and tender. Cover it up and forget it for a little bit. Keep it on medium heat. So while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my salsa verde. This is pretty much the magic to this entire dish. I have about 9 tomatillos, 3 serrano peppers, and 3 garlic cloves. You're going to boil this for about 5 to 8 minutes. So here I'm checking on the meat, and it looks like it's got a nice little boil going. Keep in mind, don't let this fool you. This is still not done. The meat is still pretty tough, but you do want to go in there and check it and just kind of move it around so nothing is sticking too badly to the bottom of the pan. Look at all of these juices and all of this fat that the meat is releasing. So you kind of just want to let it cook in all of that, because that is where all of the flavor is. So go ahead and mix it around, move it around, and then feel free to cover it back up. Check on it in another 10 minutes and just kind of see how it's doing. But it's looking pretty good so far. So now that I've got that covered up, I let it cook for about another 20 minutes. And once you see that the meat is getting really tender, add half of a sliced onion and 3 garlic cloves directly to the top. Now, as you can see here, this has been probably another 20 minutes later. It's getting nice and brown and crispy, and this is exactly what we are looking for in this dish. So the meat on the inside is going to be super tender, but you're going to have a few of those little pieces in there that are nice and crunchy and golden brown. So that meat is just about done. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is blend up all of the ingredients for my salsa. I added everything, and then I also added enough of the juice that I cooked it in to cover all of the tomatillos and all of the peppers. And then I added salt, pepper, and a little bit of chicken bouillon, and then a handful of fresh cilantro. Keep in mind, these seasonings are to taste. Start with a little bit, and then once you mix it up, if you feel like it needs a little bit of anything, go ahead and add it then. So I don't know if you can tell, but I went ahead and switched the meat out from the pan that I was cooking it in, and I switched it over to a clean skillet. I have it on medium now so that the skillet can start heating up. This is not necessary, but I highly recommend that you switch the meat from the pot that you cooked it in, because that pot is going to have so much fat and so much grease and so much oil. So this just kind of gives you a little bit of a clean slate without all the extraness. Look at how beautiful this meat is. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So now that the pan has gotten nice and hot, you can see it's starting to bubble a little bit. So now this is the perfect time to add your salsa right over it. Go ahead and mix it in thoroughly. Taste it, make sure it doesn't need a tad bit of salt. Anything else, make sure you adjust it now. Once I mix all of this in, the only thing I'm gonna wait for is for it to come back to a simmer. That's gonna take all of maybe 5 minutes if you have this on a medium heat. That's it. You don't want to cook this any longer because the meat is already cooked all the way. The peppers and everything, you already cooked it, so you don't want to overcook it and burn out any of that flavor. So here, 5 minutes later, we've got a beautiful simmer going on. It's delicious. It's just not as spicy as I like it. I don't know what happened, guys. Serranos are usually so spicy. These were not so much. Here's a little trick that I like to use. When I want something just to be a little bit spicier, I add a little bit of dried red peppers, and that just kind of elevated it to the spiciness that I like it, and it was perfect after this. This is the dish, guys. I've gone ahead and turned the heat off. Now I'm just letting it rest, letting that salsa just really marinate in all of that juicy pork, and pretty much putting the table together so that we can all sit down and enjoy this delicious, authentic, homemade Mexican dish. Even if you are not Mexican, I highly recommend that you try this. To me, it brings a lot of memories of when I was a kid. My mom used to make this all the time, and that means you guys need to be making this all the time for your family. It is so good, so tender. Like I said, a great, great dish. All you need is a little bit of patience to cook the meat all the way through. Besides that, it is a pretty easy dish. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and watching another one of my videos. I really appreciate you guys. I hope that you are excited for this one as I was to make it and eat it. So don't forget to subscribe, give my video a like, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.